All right, welcome everybody to this event. We are starting here pretty soon. My name is Rick, and in this webinar, what we're going to be discussing what it takes to become a full stack developer. Now, there's a lot of different paths you can take to become a full stack developer, and there's definitely a lot of ways you can actually become a full stack developer. And what I'm going to be sharing with you here today is I'm going to be sharing with you what I personally have done and what other options are out there for you. Now, I actually do this for a profession. I've actually been a full stack developer for over 4 years, and I've worked with a bunch of crazy projects with a bunch of pretty awesome people, and I've done so many different things in so many different ways in software development. Now, here I'm going to be sharing with you how you can actually become a full stack developer. So if you're a back-end developer, if you're a front-end developer, or if you're just somebody that's just barely starting out and you don't necessarily know where to actually begin or where to start or actually how to get even going with becoming a full stack developer, I'm going to be sharing that with you. All right, so so before I actually get started, there's two different ways you can ask me questions. So there's the live YouTube community that you can actually just ask questions directly there. I'm also going to be answering questions at the very end once we actually get there, and then I'll be answering the questions that people have emailed me because there's so many different questions, and I want to get to as many questions as I can on the actual ones that people have emailed me. So if you email me a question, I'll try to get to that at the end. I'm watching the YouTube live chat, so if you have any questions, I can actually answer those questions directly from the chat itself. So I'll be watching the chat, but I won't get to any of that until we actually get to the end. So all right, so that's it. Now that you know a little bit about me, what else can I tell you? Let's see. I've actually been doing this for about 4 years. I started my career in technology in general when I was 16 years old, and now I'm 25, so I've been doing this for a really long time now. And what I do for day-to-day work is actually program professionally for my clients, and I do a lot of consulting services here in Salt Lake City. And it's a lot of fun. So I've been doing full stack for a really long time, and it gives me the ability, the full stack development gives you the ability to be able to communicate messages directly to stakeholders, right? And be able to communicate that message directly to them and be able to actually assess what they want, right? All right, so let's go ahead and jump into my slides, and we'll get started with this. All right, so pretty much this whole entire thing is here to take you to the next level, right? How do you become a full stack developer? There's so many options out there. There's so many things you can learn. And how do you actually decide if you actually even want to become a full stack developer? Now, becoming a full stack developer, there's many different options for you out there. And as far as what you actually want to go ahead and pursue. Now, what does even a full stack developer, what does that word even mean, right? Full stack developer. Now, this can be many things to many different people. And if you are a back-end developer, if you're a front-end developer, if you're somebody that wants to get involved with the whole entire process of development, I just want to go ahead and take some time right now and congratulate you for stepping up to that next level and actually having a deeper understanding of systems. Because remember, software and software development is a lot to do with just systems, not just, I am a web developer, I am a front-end designer, I am a back-end designer. No. Oh, I only work with databases. No, none of this, right? If you actually want to step up and go to that next level and actually become a full-stack developer, your understanding as a programmer and as a developer in general has to be much more than just your average, coder that just codes up some simple program or whatever it might be. So there's a lot of different complexities. There's a lot of different things you have to think about, and there's a lot of different things you need to know in order for you to be actually considered a full-on full-stack developer. So before I actually get into this, I actually want to go ahead and tell you that my excitement for software in general is very high, right? And if you're not excited about software, if you're not excited about creating software, if you're not excited about helping people, and if you're not excited about this profession in general, I just want you to leave the live stream right now, leave this video. And the reason for this is because I don't want you in this field. Yeah, I don't want you in this field, right? If you're not excited about this stuff, if you're not excited about learning new things, if you're not excited about becoming a better programmer, if you're not excited about all these things, about the interest and the power and the transformational things you can do with software, you should not be in this field. You should just quit your job right now and stop going. There's so many things. There's so many developers that I see that I've worked with professionally with in other projects that they're actually just doing this for a paycheck. And if that's you, I don't want to go too much on that, but that's kind of my excitement for software in general. Now, we're gonna be talking about how to become a full stack developer. So let's go get into it. So full stack developer. Now, full stack developer does many things, and they interact with many different people, and they're responsible for many different topics and ideas and general things you have to consider when you consider yourself a full stack developer. And the first thing that I want to go ahead and introduce you to here is N2N Development. Let me repeat that one more time. N2N Development. So this is everything that's involved in end-to-end development. What does that mean, Rick? You're saying end-to-end development. Well, this is if you're an end-to-end developer, you know what's going on in every single phase of the project. And you pretty much have a good idea of every single part of the system. And you can pretty much go into any part of the system and be able to understand what's happening at that point of the system. So that's what end-to-end development is. And a full stack developer has to be able to do end-to-end development. This isn't like, oh, I only do this sometimes. No. You have to be able to touch any part of the system and be able to know and understand what part of the system you're at. So that's what end-to-end development is. And then you have to have this deep understanding of systems, what I was talking to you a little bit about earlier. So this deep understanding of system includes many different things. So when you think of full stack developer, do you think like a web developer? You know, that's usually what you think of, what comes to mind, right? A full stack developer is a web developer, right? Well, not necessarily. A full stack developer is somebody that, like I mentioned to you before, that can actually communicate and be effective at any stages of the software development lifecycle. So it's really important that you have this deeper understanding of systems, right? And you must be saying, well, Rick, I only do JavaScript. I don't need this deep understanding of level systems. Well, you should be able to, at least look at some native C++ code and make some sense of it, right? What's so important about this code? Why is this code being useful? How is the business actually benefiting from this code, right? And this is what comes back down to this deeper level of understanding of systems, right? And then another good benefits of being a full stack developer is that it's in high demand. Okay? High demand. I mean, being a full stack developer, you can literally land a job anywhere that literally they need you. It's a big high demand, right? And when I say high demand, if something is high demand, usually a company or organizations want to pay you a high level of value. What do I mean by high level of value? Well, a high level value is if you work with a company, let's say if you're a contractor or if you're a consultant like I am, or if you're just an employee, you're in high demand, right? Because you're in high demand, that pretty much demands that they're going to pay you a lot of value because you're in high demand, right? And that's what my whole entire point here with full stack developers. They are in high demand. Right now I was looking at some of the statistics for full stack developers, and the average starting salary for a full stack developer is over 100K. Now, there's definitely some consideration that goes into that. Are you senior? Are you a junior? Whatnot. But and it also depends on what kind of part of the world you're in, right? So again, don't just take that with a grain of salt. All right. So the other thing, last thing here for what a full stack developer is they are language agnostic. What, Rick? Really? Language agnostic? Yes, language agnostic. What does that even mean? Well, that means that you're not a fan of just one language, right? You're a fan of the process of creating software. You're just not a fan of one single language, right? You can pretty much dig deep into any part of the system and be able to understand that. And that's what language agnostic means, is that you're not just I am a Java, I'm a Java fan, or I'm a C++ programmer. Oh no, all I do is SQL. Oh no, Rick, you don't get it. I just do CSS, right? A full stack developer doesn't really care about the language. A full stack developer can literally pick up any of the languages, right? I don't really care if it's C++, C, Java, it doesn't really matter. It can pick up any language and be able to use that effectively. Now, full stack developer can be many things, like I mentioned to you before. You can be working with the web, you can be working with a mobile app, you can be working with a native app, or you can even be working on an application that doesn't even interact with humans, like a machine-to-machine application. All right, so that's full stack developer, language agnostic. Now, I have another picture here for you. And this one is actually kind of fun. And this is a picture of a city, because I was trying to come up like, well, how would you explain a full stack developer, right? And the best way I can actually think of actually explaining what a full stack developer is somebody that can actually navigate a city. So if you think of your software project, your software idea, the place of software you're actually building is the ability for you to be able to effectively navigate a city, right? And when you're navigating the city, you can actually interact with many different things within the city, right? You can go into a building, you can go into a room, you can paint a room, you can tear down a room, you can purchase a room, you can do many things within the city, right? And you can do that effectively. That's essentially what a full stack developer does, right? They're able to actually effectively move around in their project. They're not tied down to a thing they can't do, right? They're able to dabble into many different things and be able to get some work done. So they're not just stuck on one specific thing. Why is this important? Well, this is important if you ever worked with a group of people where it's like you're working on part of a project, you really can't move forward until the SQL schemas are designed, right? Well, if you're a full stack developer, you should be able to mock, right? You should be able to mock those schemas and be able to get your work done, even if you're not a SQL expert, right? And that's what the whole point here with the full stack developer is. All right, so what are the paths to becoming a full stack developer? Now, there's a bunch of different paths you can take. There's so many different cool things you can learn about and how to approach this. And if you're actually part of my mailing list, I actually send out the 3 different paths if you watch the promo video for this live webinar. And the paths are very different for many different people. And your path might be very unique. It might not even be included into these available paths that I'm mentioning to you here. So my whole idea here is that I want you to understand that these paths are very different for everybody, right? And the paths that I'm going to introduce you to are just little heuristics, little rule of thumbs, like little paths that you can optionally take, right? But these are not the paths. And there's actually a 4th one that I might tell you about it, but I'm not sure yet. All right, so the full stack path, right? You have a computer science degree. Now, computer science degree are typically 4-year degrees, and they span about 4 years here in the US. If you're out in a different country, I'm not sure there. But here in the US, they typically take 4 years. They're usually taught by a university and usually go through the beginner phases, the intermediate, and then the upper division courses. Now, I'm kind of a little bit biased here for the computer science degree because that's what I did. And it's really challenging degree. There's a lot of things you got to learn. And yeah, that's pretty much a computer science degree. Coding Bootcamp, they're here where I live. These are huge. These are trending right now. The coding bootcamps are outrageous. There's so many people out there that have started a bootcamp, that are going to a bootcamp, that have positive things about a bootcamp, that have negative things about a bootcamp. I'll be covering each of these in more depth, but I just wanted to introduce you to the path. So we have a computer science degree, we have coding bootcamp, and then the last one's going to be self-learning. Now, self-learning is probably like, oh, Rick, that looks a little persuasive. Self-learning, you say, right? I can do self-learning. Well, you might actually find out that self-learning is actually the hardest one out of all 3, right? Even the computer science degree, right? All right. So those are the full stack paths. So computer science degree. Yeah, the computer science degree. So the first and most foremost part is costly. I mean, it is ridiculous how much it costs to obtain your computer science degree in the US. Why is that? Well, it's because when you are actually entering the university to get your computer science degree, it's expected of you that you know a lot of things, right? It's expected that you come with a pretty strong background in math and in physics. And if you don't come with that background, it's going to take you a really long time to actually catch up and get to that level. That's why I'm actually saying computer science is very costly. But here's the thing. There's a couple ways you can actually bypass this cost. There's scholarships. There's many different options out there for you. But most importantly here, I just want to introduce you that it's costly, because more than likely you might not fall into one of these buckets of being, highly educated or being really very intelligent at a very specific level. So again, costly. And then it's loads of fun. So if you decide to go to college, it is a lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of people. It's so much fun. You can do so many different things. You can study so many different topics. You don't have to just study programming or math or science. You can go out there and actually practice many different things. You're not just stuck with just programming all day like you would in a coding boot camp. And it also gives you the time, and it gives you the flexibility, and it gives you the ability to actually, research different things. Like when I was in college, I did a lot of reading, and I did a lot of studying on design. Not in actual, how do you draw that type of deal? No, in design as far as like products, like how do you actually look at it, like something, is that designed correctly, right? So I looked at things like teapots, I looked at things like cups, I look at things like material, actual things that are actually designed. So that's what college allows you to do, is lets you explore different things, right? Not just be stuck in just programming all day long. Because the more you can understand different things outside of programming, the better of a programmer you'll become. All right, and then obviously you get CS theories for years. I mean, I don't know what to say about CS theory. I mean, it's good. I mean, it's like you should have it. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a good thing, right? You know, CS theory, it has its place definitely, and you can definitely learn a lot from CS theory in general. But the takeaway here is a lot of people want to skip this theory and just jump into programming or jump in straight into a job. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. You know, the CS theory is really important because it will allow you to be able to navigate any part of the system and be able to make sense of it. So again, computer science degree, great for CS theory. So if you want to know more about CS theory, you know, definitely look into a computer science degree. All right, so next one here is coding boot camps. Yeah, coding boot camps. Now, coding boot camps are super trending right now. So the cost is cheaper than a college degree, but I'll get to the negative part of that there. So I have a picture here of the coding boot camp, and as you can see here, they're not drinking beer, they're not having fun, they're not exploring other things, they're not, you know, going out there and talking to different people. They're not. It's kind of, I don't know. I have a pretty, I don't know. Yeah, coding boot camps. Let's get into it. So they're trending right now, and when I mean trending, I mean it's trending pretty big right now. There's a lot of people that are making the investment in themselves and investing 10, 20, you know, $25,000, $30,000 into going to one of these coding boot camps. And the coding boot camps duration is between 3 to 6 months. And in the coding boot camp, there's a bunch of different things you can do in the coding boot camp, and they don't guarantee you job placement, but they do sort of help you get a job. And this is good if you're a profession. If you're in a profession already. Now, I've had a couple of you email me directly asking me if a good coding bootcamp is correct for you. And I would say yes, a coding bootcamp will be correct for you if you're already a professional in some specific field, right? And I'll get to the questions. We'll get to the question where somebody was asking me if a coding bootcamp is right for them, and you know they're already like 35, 40 years old. And I would say yes if you're a professional already. So if you make a professional salary doing something, you're already a profession in that specific market. So for example, let's say you know you're a professional at some specific. Let's say you're a scientist in some specific field, and you need programming to allow you to do some specific thing within what you're doing. Then a coding bootcamp, you know, that'll be really beneficial for you there, because again, you're more than likely you already have the money. You can pretty much pay it up front, pay the $20,000, pay the $25,000, pay the $30,000, and it wouldn't be an issue whatsoever. So again, coding bootcamp, super cool if you already have the money and you can just pretty much just pay out the $25,000, $35,000 without any hesitation. So coding bootcamp, good for that. It's trending right now. And then the other one here that I have here is it hurts your career. So what does hurts your career mean? Well, it can mean many different things to many different people. And I think the ability for you to be able to say that you went to a boot camp, I think it's going to hurt your career in the long run. If you're not a professional, okay? So if you're a professional and you go to a coding boot camp, then I don't think it'll hurt your career at all. I think it'll be like just a training program that you went to. It doesn't really hurt anything. But if you're not a professional, if you're barely starting out and you go to a boot camp, I think it's going to hurt you in the long run. Why do I say that? Well, I'm going to say that because there's a lot of people that are seniors already in the positions they're going to be applying to. And if you go in there, you're like, oh, look at me, I'm a hot shot. You know, I completed my boot camp in under 4 months. I'm super good at programming. Then I see where that's going to actually affect you negatively, especially if you're trying to get a job. So again, it can hurt you, but you got to be careful with that for the coding boot camps. And one of the other things here is because this is trending right now, it is a trend that's happening right now in our field, is that it could be gone forever. What? Gone forever? Yeah, gone forever. And that's one of the things that I don't necessarily like about the boot camps, is because any organization, even you right now, if you want, you can start your very own boot camp if you want right now. It doesn't, you don't really need a license. You don't really need anything. And I think that's one of the best things about software, is that you are free to do anything you want within our field. There is very little regulations within our field. So again, coding boot camps, they're trending right now. One of the things is, here in the upcoming years, probably by 2020, I would say, a lot of these places are going to close down because they're not going to be able to turn a profit. And you can already see that they're not going to be able to, because think about it, they're going to have to be turning in students all the time and then churning them out every 4 months, right? So there's definitely going to be a negative there's going to be a negative impact because of that in our field, right? There's going to be a lot more new people entering, and then you're going to definitely see a side effect of that. So again, coding bootcamps, they're going to be gone in the future, so I just want to give you a heads up on that. Contrary to a college degree, though, at a university might be around for 100 years. So a university might actually outlive you. A coding bootcamp will not outlive you. I can guarantee you that. All right, so we're moving along here. We're now on to self-learning. Now, self-learning is like, yeah, I can do self-learning. Yeah, I can teach myself, no problem. I mean, how hard can this be, right? And self-learning, there's so many different things about self-learning, and there's actually what was the word? I can't remember the word, but the word itself is can you actually teach yourself, right? And the ability to teach yourself is very unique. I would say not a lot of people have this skill. And self-learning is you have to have the discipline, you have to have the time, and you have to have the commitment. Okay? Discipline, time, and commitment. You gotta have all three. And those sound like boring words, right? Those sound like adult words, right? Discipline, really? Commitment, yeah. Do I really have commitment? Yeah. Time, commitment, and discipline, they're all required in order for you to be able to do self-learning. And self-learning is kind of lonely. You kind of don't have anybody to talk to. You have to be able to go through this process of self-learning by yourself. All right, so let's go through here. So some of the benefits of self-learning, well, it's close to free, right? And close to free is pretty cool. I mean, you don't pay anything. But don't get fooled, though. Just because you're not paying anything, does not mean you're not spending money. Let me make that clear. Just because you're not paying anything does not mean you're not spending anything. Because you got to also take to equation here the things you could have been doing while you were learning, right? Because every time you're learning something new and you're learning more from one of these free resources, you're not making any money. So again, just because it's free, it doesn't mean it's not going to cost you anything. So take that into consideration there. A lot of free things, don't necessarily think that they're not going to cost you anything, because they might end up costing you something. All right, so next one here is time. And it's going to take years. If you go down this path of self-learning, holy cow, yeah, you're going to spend a lot of time going around in circles. Let me take you back over here. Circles, I tell you, circles. You're going to be going around circles if you go down this path. And if you go down in the path of self-learning with the ability for you to be able to actually do this by yourself, it's going to take you a very long time. So again, you must be saying, well, how much do you value your time? If you value your time highly, then you might not want to do self-learning, because self-learning will take you a lot of time to do. And again, self-learning is trending right now. So there's a lot of tools popping up everywhere where it's like, oh, you can just learn everything. You can even type in the command. You can go into the command line and you can just type some command, and then the command line will show you everything you need to know in order for you to be a quote-unquote self-learner, right? Teach yourself everything. So again, I'll give you some warnings here with self-learning. Again, you have to be a person that can actually self-learn. And you know who you are already. I don't have to really necessarily tell you. But I do want to discourage you if you're not. If you're not a self-learner, don't even try this. It's, look at this dog right here. This dog does not look happy right here. I have no idea what I'm doing. All right, so going in circles, we talked about that. And you also, I remember when I was first learning coding, I was like, well, what do I learn? Where do I start? What books do I read? Who do I listen to, right? And there's so much things to learn, and you will never learn everything, but there's so many different things you could be learning. There's so many different people you could be listening to, and the ability for you to be able to actually learn what you need to in order for yourself to be valuable, that's very different. All right, so what will it take? So you're like, all right, Rick, you gave me three options. We got a computer science degree. Okay, it's pretty cool, right? You get to party. And you got a coding boot camp, pretty boring. You're going to go through hell for 4 months. Or you got self-learning, which is also kind of boring, and it's going to take me years. Well, what kind of resources? Let's say if I decide to go let's just say hypothetically, I want to go with one of these options. So you have a computer science degree. Computer science degree, if you're here in the US, it's going to cost you 100,000 plus. And this includes housing, this includes tuition, this includes books, this includes all these things, right? You can also get it done for cheaper. Like I mentioned to you, there's definitely different ways to actually get this done cheaper. But in general, if you want a computer science degree and you're willing to go actually commit and learn all these different topics that you need to know about to get your computer science degree, it's going to be costly. You can do a coding bootcamp. Coding bootcamp is going to be between $10,000 and $25,000. Or you can do self-learning, and that'll be lots and lots and lots of time. So those are the three options. Those are the resources you need in order for you to be able to accomplish that. So how do you get started? Now, there's a bunch of different ways to actually get started with this. You can just go up to university and just sign up and be like, yep, I'll take the student loan. Yep. You're in university. Pretty simple, right? You also can go to coding bootcamp, same thing there. You can take on a loan. You can actually go ahead and just commit yourself and pay that out if you have the money. You can just join a bootcamp. Self-learning, pretty simple. Just open a new tab on your browser and off you go. There's so many different things you can learn from. All right, so that's essentially how you get started. But more than likely, if you decide to go down these paths, let's go back over here. Let's say you go down the path of computer science. Now, in a computer science degree, they're going to show you a lot of things because you got 4 years to learn all this stuff. So you can learn a bunch of different programming languages. You're going to do a bunch of different coursework. So there's a bunch of benefit there. But how valuable is that? Well, it depends on what kind of part of the world you're in. Coding bootcamp, more than likely, they're going to go through a very specific, narrow thing they want you to learn. For example, Ruby on Rails, iOS development, Android development, whatever it might be. A coding bootcamp usually would take you from a specific tool or specific pathway to go down. Self-learning, self-learning is a little bit crazy, right? Self-learning is one of those things where it's like, well, you could do self-learning, right? And actually, when I was actually learning programming, I actually took a bunch of different courses online. And one of the courses that I took was the MIT 500 or 600 course. And in that 600 course, you get to learn Lisp, okay? So you learn Lisp, right? And you learn all the concepts of programming with Lisp. But I have never, outside that class, I never used Lisp ever again. So again, it depends on kind of what you want to do. And again, self-learning, you might end up going in circles. So I'll give you a fair warning to that. All right, so let's say you actually want to go ahead and go through the self-learning and you don't want to learn Lisp like I did. Well, more than likely, if you go to a coding bootcamp, you do self-learning, or if you decide to I don't think they even teach you. I didn't even learn any of this in college. So you probably won't learn this in college, but in college you will learn things like C++, Java, those system low-level languages that are, in general pretty useful. So the mean stack. This is probably what you will learn in a coding bootcamp if they are a modern coding bootcamp. Because there's a lot of these coding bootcamps that are franchises of each other. So they might be showing you some specific thing like Ruby on Rails, which was huge back in 2010. But now we're in 2016, entering 2017. I don't necessarily would say they're that big now, right? And here we're going to be covering the mean stack, and we're going to be covering what parts of the mean stack are. But if you go off to a coding bootcamp, they might be one of these franchises where they'll be showing you some specific concept, and it might be like 5 years old. Again, how valuable is that to you? It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So the mean stack, one language, JavaScript, the runtime is Node, the framework is Express, the database is Mongo, and the framework is Angular or Angular 2, which was released not that long ago. I think it was last month. All right, so if you go to a coding bootcamp, they're going to go ahead and show you either the mean stack, but they're going to show you the mean stack from 2 years ago. So you're going to be using JavaScript, the old school JavaScript. You're going to be using var, you're going to be using for loops, you're going to be using while loops, you're going to be doing all the things of how you would implement the mean stack 4 years ago, 3 years ago, right? And the thing is, within the community of JavaScript, all of these things are changing all the time. So there's constant change. There's nothing ever static. There isn't something that's like, oh, this is how it's done and this is how it's done forever. No, not at all. So the reason why I even wanted to introduce you here to the mean stack is because the ability for you to be able to understand why you would either go with the mean stack, why you would go with Ruby on Rails, why you would go with Laravel, why you would go with C# or whatever it might be. I just wanted to give you an example of what you would learn on either a boot camp or if you go off on a path and actually do this self-learning to become a full stack developer. All right, so it looks like finally we made it to the end. So Q&A, questions and answers. So let me go. All right, so, okay, I have my questions here. I won't be showing you any of these questions just because it has a little bit of confidential information as far as what it is that I'm going to be showing you. So I don't want to show you any names or any emails or anything like that. So again, I would just be reading out the question and I'll be trying to answer the question. I'll jump into the YouTube questions and I'll jump back into learnme.com questions here in a sec. So let's go ahead and get started with these. All right, so you must be wondering, what is this? Rick, you sent me some random email. What is this? And if you're a little bit confused as far as what this is, more than likely you signed up for my mean stack course that I taught like 2 years ago now. I think 2 years ago, and I was giving away that course for free. So if you signed up for that course, you more than likely went through that course, and that's why you ended up on my mailing list. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, and you're not part of my mailing list, and you're watching this right now, go over to codewithintent.com right now, codewithintent.com. Go over there and sign up for the mailing list, because the mailing list is a blast. I mean, everybody, you can ask me questions directly. I will answer your questions for you. The mailing list is so much fun. So go over to codewithintent.com and sign up for the mailing list. I have a 15-day course there for you about becoming a full stack developer. So this is what this is. All right, so let's see. Okay, how familiar do you have to be with ES6 in order to become a full stack developer? I say very familiar with ES6. I mean, ES6 is the future, right? And you must be saying, well, Rick, what about ES7 and ES8? Oh, you got to learn those too. There's only a little bit of difference between ES7 and ES8. But in general, you should be learning these things. You should have a pretty good understanding of ES6. And ES6 is the ability for you to be able to actually write modern JavaScript. And ES6 is a very good component of that. Let's see what the next one here is. Do you have to know TypeScript? No, you don't. TypeScript is if you don't know what TypeScript is just pretty much a superset of JavaScript, of ES6, but it gives you some sugar syntax and it gives you some different things like typings. So TypeScript in general is pretty cool, but I won't touch too much on TypeScript there. Okay, it says, hi Rick, I'm not a good English speaker, but I really love this story. I'm a software engineer, recently graduated. I don't know what I'll do. I have many ideas, but they seem impossible to do. Okay, so if you're just recently graduated and you have no idea what you're going to do, I would say don't even do programming. What? Don't do programming? No, don't do programming. Go do something else. Go travel. Go meet people. Go explore things. Go see what the world has for you to offer to you. You must be saying, well, Rick, that's easy for you to say, right? Well, yeah, it is kind of easy for me to say, because the ability for you to be able to explore and learn more about different things will make you in turn a better programmer. So yeah, go explore, go do something else. I wouldn't even be worried about a job. Go do something else that's fun, something that you want to do. Let's see here. Rick, thank you for that account. Let's see. I searched for Indeed.com nationwide, JavaScript 51,000 hits, Python, Ruby, PHP, JavaScript and Python, then Ruby. See, well, where's the question? I worked as a mechanical drafter contracting for years. Some people like to contract. I'm one of those. I've also worked with houses a couple of times, which can suck, to be honest. Families prefer to enjoy their private lives without employees walking around. So as a Linux user, .NET is not in my vocabulary, and I failed to mention Java. I plan to learn both C languages, JavaScript and Java. Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, those are pretty good options there. Let's see, where's the question? JavaScript and Python, Ruby copy PHP. Okay, this guy's just blabbing on, especially Java. Okay, so yeah, this guy's just talking about languages. Yeah, see, the tech. So go to learnme.com and watch the first 3 minutes of that video. Okay, people don't care. Let me hear that. People don't care how many programming languages you know. People don't care how cool you are with R. People don't care that you know every single thing about Python. They don't care any of that crap. What they care about is, can you deliver results? Can you actually, can you get the job done? That's what they care about. Yeah, don't worry about all these languages. Just solve people's problems. Let's see. Thanks for the email. Looking forward to more of it. Hopefully you will help me with this. Junction, business analyst. Willing to get deeper into development. My interests are just so wide. Java, Python, HTML5, CSS3, JS, mean framework, etc. Really confusing at most times. How can I focus on one time where I should start majorly? I started at 25% progress. I believe mentoring might just help. Not sure. I'm not really that young. Okay. So again, the same thing here. You're trying to focus on a million things. Trash all this and just pick one language and focus on that language, right? And if you're not really that young anymore, again, just pick one thing. JavaScript, Java, C++. Doesn't matter. Just pick that one thing and learn as much as you can on it and actually get some stuff done with it. Hey, Rick, I'm in the process of trying into a boot camp. What do you think is your point of view? Should I enroll into a boot camp and quit my job? I'm planning on upgrading into a mentoring program, and I'm curious how benefiting it can be since I am still in the training as a novice developer. My goal is to be a junior developer, start off a small, rise up through I am getting old. Let me know. Thanks. I think I already answered this question at the beginning. Go back to the beginning of the video, and I'll actually answer this question there for you. Let's see. Technical questions. Do you have to use ES6 TypeScript to use Angular 2? Yes, no. Yes, no. It's not an answer, Rick. Yes, no. Do you have to use ES6 TypeScript to use Angular 2? Well, you have to know. I would say you have to know ES6. Do you have to use TypeScript? No. You could actually even use ES5 to do Angular 2. But I would recommend you to go ahead and still learn ES6 and try to understand what the concepts are of TypeScript and see how you can benefit from that. All right, let's move on to the next one. Let's see, where is Angular 2 going to be released? It's been released already. Okay, this is a good one. I'm a server-side guy. I don't want to move to the trending technology framework right now. I find this question kind of funny. It's a little bit ridiculous. I'm a server-side guy. I don't want to move to the training technology framework right now. Okay. So if you're a server-side guy, you don't want to move to the whole entire plethora of options that you have in the JavaScript ecosystem, or if Android development or iOS development. If you don't want to do any of this and you just want to sit back in your server-side code in your SQL database, you're doing a horrible job. Horrible job. You should get fired. That's my answer to that. If you just think that you should be doing that, no. If you're a server-side guy, you should be, out there and talking to the people that are actually getting you paid, right? And you should be communicating with them and see what they need. Don't think they're just some server-side guy. So if you're working with a team, go talk to your Scrum Master. See how you can get involved in different things. Don't just be stuck. Oh, I'm just a server-side guy. All I do is just SQL. No. Go out there and actually learn something new. And I'm actually going to do the inverse of that question. I'm a client-side guy. I don't want to move to this boring server-side code. I just feel sorry again for you, just because you're missing out. You're missing out. If you don't know different parts of the development stack, you're missing out big time. Okay, so before I get to more questions, actually remember something that I forgot to mention to you. So I'm going to share with you a little blurb that I have here. So software engineering is an engineering practice that involves all aspects of software development, from design, development, implementation, testing, maintenance of a software project. Okay, you want to repeat that for you? I'll repeat that one more time. Software engineering is an engineering practice that involves all aspects of software development, from design, development, implementation, testing, and maintenance of a software project. So that's what software engineering is. And you must be saying, well, Rick, this sounds a lot like full stack development. Maybe it makes some sense there, right? All right, I forgot actually to mention that. I was supposed to include that in the beginning, but I forgot. All right, so let's go through. We're almost done with the questions here. Let's see. When should I start learning to become a full stack developer? Yesterday. Rick, do I have to write tests as a full stack developer? Absolutely. As a full stack developer, do you have to know every single programming language? No, I actually covered this already. How can I start using a full stack at work? Talk to the people that are responsible. So if you have a team lead, if you have a Scrum Master, if you have a manager, if you have whoever's responsible for your project, if you're the one that's responsible, just start doing more. Start doing more. See how you can help. Okay, will this recording be available? Yes, it will be. Let's see. Yes, this recording will be available. I'll send out the link once this is actually over. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. I'm actually going to go ahead and answer any of your questions that are on YouTube Live now. So if you have your questions, YouTubers, now is your time to ask them. Let's see, we got awesome presentation. Thank you. Thank you, Frederick. Let's see. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? How do you know this is live? I got a phone notification. Awesome. Make sure if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, you do. With full stack, will we be jack of all, master of none? Absolutely not. You'll be a master of systems. That's what you'll be. I got an email out of nowhere. So this stack is about the main stack. Coding Bootcamp in his opinion is not helpful for beginners. I would agree with you there. Very well explained so far. Thank you. Thanks for all the love. Can you please discuss more about the RESTful API? Absolutely not. How does one deal with must-have 3 years experience in Node requirements and job postings? Okay, so that's a good question. How does one deal with must-have 3 years experience in Node requirements and a job posting? All right, so I'm going to give you a quick trick here for job postings. People will tell you that they want all this junk, right? I need a RESTful API. I need 5 years of experience. I need you to be a Scrum Master. I need you to be able to, agile practice. I need to know SQL, no SQL. I need you to create database schemas. I need to know CSS3, HTML5. I need you to know how to write C++ code. People are gonna tell you this, right? They're gonna spew this out of their mouth. They're gonna tell you that they want this, okay? But in reality, what they want is someone that can actually help them make a sense of their mess they have. Okay? Let me repeat that one more time. This is their way of communicating that they have an entire mess that they need help with. Okay? And if you approach your resume, if you approach your interview, if you approach the call, if you approach all these things with the ability that you can help them make sense of this mess, then you will get hired. I guarantee you that. And I'll tell you that from experience because I've actually been on the other side of actually hiring developers. And if somebody was to communicate that directly to me, I would hire them on the spot. I work at a startup called Andela. We code for Microsoft, IBM, Facebook, etc. I've worked with the main stack, but what does it take to be a senior full stack developer? Practice. Thank you. How's Angular 2 different than Angular 1? Big difference. A lot of things are gone. All right, so I think those are all the questions from YouTube. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up right now. And what I'm gonna leave you here with is if you are, if you're committed to seeing yourself succeed, okay? So you have to be committed to learning, okay? You have to be committed to change. You have to be committed to actually seeing yourself become something different, right? And if you're committed to these things, I want to invite you, right? I want to invite you to go to learnme.com. And when you go to learnme.com, I want you to take 5-10 minutes, okay? Won't cost you anything. 5-10 minutes. And I want you to read what's at learnme.com. And if I don't provide as much value as you would want out of those 5-10 minutes, I want you to close the window and never go to learnme.com again. Okay? But I want you to go there. I want you to take 5 to 10 minutes and read what I have to say there. And if you agree with anything that I have to say with there, I want you to go all the way to the bottom and sign up. Because this is a commitment to yourself. This is a commitment for you to become better as a programmer. And if you can commit, I want to see you in there. All right, that'll do it for this. I'll talk to you guys later. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and reach me at codewithintent.com, and I'll talk to you guys soon.